Welcome again, Saints. Of course, I am your dearest servant and lesson host for the Standard International Lesson and watchman, Brother Pastor Brian Dale, ringing the bell on the wall right here at St. Mark in Waterloo, Iowa. And today, we're going to do we're going to do October 13, 2024, and we're going to review the print passage in this 22nd number of Psalms, verse 22, 1 through 11. And I told you, Standard International students, on my lesson for last week that I had to put some more meat on the bones, and you all can open the little book up and you can all read the scriptures if you want to, and that's all great. I'm going to try to do as much reading as I can, but I'm here. My mission in life, the reason why I was brought into this world by the hand of God, is to put meat on the bone for you. You can do the reading and just allow your dear servant to put meat on the bone. So the print passage is the 22nd number of Psalms we're going to view, and we'll review some of these verses. But it's when we talk about, and today what that focus is David being kind of having his back against the wall, crying out to God and believing anyway that God was so far from helping him, and his work, he was waiting on relief from God. So when we transition that into our lives, into the lives of you and I today, what we realize is that the big picture that we want to focus on today is there's a difference in us believing God isn't helping us and God is not helping us. Again, there's a difference in believing that God is not helping us and that us kind of just not seeing, if you will, if I could better frame that, us not realizing that God is helping us. Because the first saying God's not helping me would contradict even the words that Jesus passed on to his disciples, later apostles, when we are walking with him and carrying out his will. I will never leave you nor forsake you. That's what the word of God says. So there's a difference in God not helping us and us not being able to realize that he is. What's the difference? The difference is grabbing onto the thought, his thoughts are not our thoughts, neither are his ways our ways, saith the Lord. So again, when we're dealing with this thing in the supernatural, we realize that God could be helping us, but his help even sometimes is often painful. Because when I think about the chastisement, the love of his chastisement, we may be crying out to God because he's chastising us to relieve us from his chastising. And why would he do that if he chastises those he loves? So if I ask him, I'm crying out to him to stop chastising me, I'm crying out to God to stop loving me. So again, there's a difference in God not helping us and us not seeing how God is helping us. Let's read a few of these verses. I feel like I want to preach right now. I gotta get up there in a few hours. So have some mercy on me today, all right? Okay, Psalms 22, 1 through 5. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me? And from words of thy roaring. Oh my God, I cry in the day, but you don't hear. And in the night, and I'm not silent. Verse 3, but thou art holy. O thou that inhabitants the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in you. They trusted and you delivered them. They cried unto you and were delivered, and they trusted in you and were not confounded. So when we talk about my God, why have thou forsaken me? This is David in the 22nd number of Psalms. Prophetically, there's someone else. There's another verse in the New Testament that you are more familiar with, probably, that the being said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And that was Jesus on the cross. Now, here's the issue. The issue is God forsakes someone or he does not. So what was Jesus talking about? Jesus was prophetically quoting this text. Remember, Jesus was fulfilling, and he himself said the same thing. He came to fulfill, not to tear down the law, but to fulfill it. In order to fulfill it, there had to be a once and for all sacrifice, which he was. And he prophetically did so. So when we say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Jesus was prophetically quoting what he knew from the text. But with you and I could tell you almost for certain that, and because I'm relying on faith, right? I don't have any certitude. I'm counting on faith that God did not forsake you. And only that he could actually be the one that's going to not forsake you, but he's going to actually be there with you. But because we don't realize that God has not forsaken us, we cry to him when he's already fixed the problem. Here's the thing. When you realize this, YouTube, you realize, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? When we realize that it's already done, how is it that he could have possibly forsaken you? I don't think he could have. Because when I think about him forsaking me, the reality is that he couldn't have, because Jesus said he would never leave us nor forsake us. And that he was going to be with us always, even until the end of the age. And we know that promise passed on to us as well, simply because that he said until the end of the age. He knew his disciples wasn't going to live until the time of Revelation 20, 21, and 22. He knew that. So he meant that promise was passed on to us. So he did not leave us, saints, and he did not forsake us. And that is something that we have to realize. And when I look at it, that he's not going to leave me or forsake me, but I'm saying, God, where are you? What am I really saying to God? So the other point here is we need to be careful what we speak out. You need to be careful what comes out of your mouth, because whatever you're going through, it's already fixed, but it may not be fixed in the way that you think it needs to be fixed. For example, I'm not going to be one of them lying preachers that say God's going to deliver you from the storm. I'm not going to do that. We are gathered around people's deathbeds and these sorts of things, and we saying God can change the situation when God's not going to change it. Well, I don't know He's going to change the situation. Well, hush your mouth. Stop giving people false hope, because their hope needs to lie in Jesus. Because again, when somebody is passing, one of our loved ones passing away, we have to realize they don't belong to us, and they're going back to God who created them according to his word anyway. So when I look at that, I realize that I'm going to pray to God, not necessarily to bring me out, but to have his way. And please understand this other thing as well before I start reading some verses here, is that God's not reactive. I know I'm praying, I'm going to cry out to him. I get it. We get it. But the bigger picture is this, is that if I believe he spoke the end from the beginning and the end is already written, how is it that he's going to react to my prayer, which he already knew from the beginning was going to happen? He's already worked it out. So why would he jump and snap? Your prayers move God. No, they don't. Prayers are answered. Listen to this. Don't believe that hype, that nonsense, that false doctrine. Prayers are answered when our will meets God's will for us. And that is going to happen at a point in time when we are obedient to his will for us. So I'm going to read some more verses, 22, 6 through 11. But just remember, saints, God's fix may not be what you think it is. 22, 6 through 11. But I am a worm, and no man, our reproach of men, and despise of the people. All they that see me laugh me to scorn. They shoot out the lip. They shake the head, saying he trusted in the Lord, that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. But thou art he that took me out of the womb, that did make me hope when I was upon my mother's breast. I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none help. As I close this particular lesson, because remember, people that were at the foot of the cross of Jesus. Now, we already established that Jesus was prophetically quoting in this same package of text in Psalms 22, my God, thou forsaken me. Remember, those people at the foot of the cross were saying others he saved, but himself he cannot save, right? And when we look at that and we look at just the pure prophetic nature of what was going on here, we have to realize that God is fulfilling that thing, even if it doesn't look like he is. Because when you look at it, even from the disciples' perspective, the Messiah is dead. He's gone. They were hiding. The movement is over. But that's not what happened. The Lord was working that thing out. So when your back is up against the wall, so to speak, when you're crying out to God and it doesn't look like he's moving, I would suggest, instead of looking right, looking left or right, even looking down or up, that you develop a 360 view and ask God to reveal how he's moving. And when he's moving in your hour of struggle and trial, You need to be able to accept that he is God and he's all God all by himself. And whatever he does has to work for his will, not yours. So be it. We'll see you next week.